They got us. This is our 9/11. These and many more have been Israel's reactions to Hamas' assault on their AI system. Once viewed by the world as impregnable and impossible to conquer, this militant group did the impossible. They outsmarted Israel to clinch the worst breach in Israel's defenses since the Arab armies waged war in 1973. But what if we told you they outsmarted the system with a tactic so simple that you'd be shocked Israel couldn't see it coming? Keep your eyes peeled, and don't skip a beat, as there are a lot of tiny crumbs that lead to the big story. Barely a week before Hamas commenced the largest surprise attack on Israel since the 1973 Yom Kippur War, Israeli officials proudly showcased the use of artificial intelligence and advanced surveillance technology to the chair of NATO's military committee at the Gaza border, and to be fair, they had every right to. In their last major war in Gaza back in 2021, their drones and AI technology was simply exceptional. They were spotting and destroying targets with relative ease. Fast forward to 2023, and the switch has been flipped. Israeli military positions and communities near Gaza were overrun with little or no apparent warning. To make things worse, Hamas missile launches were said to overwhelm Israel's advanced Iron Dome defenses, resulting in the deaths of hundreds. But it wasn't just Israel that was taken by surprise. America and several other intelligence agencies that congratulated themselves on their early warning of Russia's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine were left with their mouths wide open. We wouldn't be surprised if they're currently panicking about the potential conflict between China and Taiwan. Failure to take proactive action could be fatal. Israel has always kept a close eye on Gaza using high-tech methods like drones with facial recognition, border checkpoints, and electronic eavesdropping on communications. It's considered one of the most advanced surveillance efforts globally, and the defense system is no different. We dare to say it's the best in the world. Known as the Iron Dome, this mobile air defense system is made up of three key parts: a launcher with interceptors, a radar to spot incoming projectiles, and a control system to figure out where the threats will hit. And, thanks to AI, the Iron Dome is smart enough to focus on stopping rockets that could harm cities and important structures, leaving alone those likely to land in empty areas or the sea. In a nutshell, it is a super shield that can intercept and destroy short-range rockets, drones, and mortars aimed at Israeli towns from nearby locations. Backed by the US, this system was operational in 2011 and has been proven to handle multiple simultaneous threats. For years, it has been used to protect citizens from thousands of rockets, so why did things go wrong now? To understand what happened, we'll have to dissect how the operation played out on the day of the attack. Divided into four parts, Hamas' attack on Israel started with a barrage of 3,000 rockets fired from Gaza while fighters flew hang gliders or motorized paragliders over the border. Immediately after the fighters landed on the ground, they secured the area so that an elite commando unit could breach the fortified electronic and cement wall constructed by Israel to prevent infiltration. Using explosives, they succeeded in storming through the barrier and used bulldozers to widen the gaps and create more space for fighters to enter in four-wheel drives. Next, a commando unit proceeded to attack the Israeli Army's southern Gaza headquarters, disrupting communications to prevent operators from speaking to each other. And the last piece of the puzzle? Picking hostages and transporting them to Gaza. However, given the reports that several US and other foreign citizens might have been harmed or captured by the Hamas terrorists, the latter could soon receive the US wrath. Nevertheless, the attack shows just how Hamas has evolved from being a headless terrorist and guerrilla group to becoming a coordinated military force that is more complex and detailed in its abilities and plans regarding conflicts with Israel. In Israel's defense, the southern troops near Gaza weren't at full strength after some of them had been redeployed to the West Bank to protect Israeli settlers following a string of violence between them and Palestinian militants, which has been confirmed by Dennis Ross, a former Middle East negotiator who is now at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. Whether you think that was a coincidence or not, the attack by the Hamas terrorists was inch-perfect. We dare to say they even succeeded beyond their expectations. Be that as it may, the burning question is still left unanswered. How did Hamas succeed in outsmarting Israel's AI system? Everyone, including the media, is currently exploring the reasons why Israel's AI system failed to predict the fatal attack by Hamas, but there are a lot of possible explanations that can shed light on this problem. For starters, one of the potential reasons was that Hamas might have used a new or improved communication and coordination method that went undetected and couldn't be deciphered by Israel's AI system. It is common knowledge that Israel possesses some of the best capabilities for breaking into encrypted communications and eavesdropping on them, but it's not exactly foolproof. If Hamas manages to find a method to either evade or counter these capabilities head-on, Israel will be left in the dark. For instance, Hamas might have used a distinct frequency to communicate, tweaked their encryption algorithms, or employed a different code language with which Israel's AI system was neither familiar nor accessible. As an alternative, Hamas could have opted for more discreet or low-tech communication methods, like couriers, signals, or pre-arranged plans, which Israel's AI system might not have analyzed or intercepted. We admit it sounds easy, but in warfare, simple technologies often tip the scale. Even a warning hours or minutes in advance could have made a lot of difference for the Israeli troops and civilians who were caught by surprise near the Gaza border. Moving on, there is also the chance that Israel's AI system didn't give priority to or alert the appropriate authorities regarding the imminent threat of a significant attack by Hamas. Remember when we mentioned the Iron Dome uses artificial intelligence to figure out priorities? It will stop rockets that could land in populated areas but ignore the ones that could land in empty areas or waters. The Iron Dome also uses an artificial intelligence recommendation system that quickly sorts through vast amounts of data to identify the right targets for airstrikes in real time. Additionally, it also uses data from various other systems to determine munitions loads, allocate thousands of targets for friendly aircraft and drones, and propose a schedule. But here's where things get interesting. If the AI system fails to gain a good amount of accurate data to assess the probability or severity of an attack, it won't be effective. Hypothetically, it might have overlooked or misread certain signs of Hamas's preparations, like operational commands, rocket movements, or launch sites. And if that wasn't enough, the AI system may have also been overwhelmed with conflicting data to process and prioritize, such as false alarms, decoys, or disinformation. However, in both scenarios, the AI system might not have effectively notified its operators about the urgency of defensive actions or counterattacks. That said, do you still recall Hamas launching thousands of rockets towards southern Israel from the Gaza Strip in a surprise attack? Good, because that's the foundation of the third possibility that transpired. Israel's AI system may not have had enough time and/or resources to mount an effective response to the attack by Hamas. No matter how you look at it, the attack was simply unprecedented. It was way too intense and sophisticated. And let's not forget the sheer number of rockets used. How could they even pull that off? While this is purely speculative, there is a chance that Israel's AI system wasn't designed or ready to cope with such a massive and sudden attack. Systems like these can be quite delicate. It might have lacked sufficient bandwidth, computing power, or storage capacity to effectively process and transmit the incoming data and commands. Plus, the system may not have had enough drones, radars, interceptors, or launchers to operate the invading rockets of such scale. In a nutshell, Hamas played the waiting game. From the way they organized themselves down to the element of surprise the heavy attack had, everything pointed in the direction that they had been nursing the sinister attack for a long time. Speaking to Sky News, Michael Milstein, a former head of intelligence on Palestinian affairs for the IDF, said, Israel was surprised twice, once from the doctrine of Hamas, which was very different from the way we in Israel thought about the strategy or the intentions of Hamas, and second, from the capabilities of this organization. Not too long ago, Israel believed Hamas mainly concentrated on providing its members jobs, but little did they know that the group had other plans. Its fighters were actively participating in training and drills, often in plain sight. With several careless and lackadaisical measures leading up to the attack, Israel is currently seeking penance by revenge, with Mr. Ahmadrur, the former chairman of the National Security Council, currently with the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security, saying, "We are not going to make this mistake again, and we will destroy Hamas slowly but surely,